Hey, welcome back to the Travel People Podcast. It's your boy JV here in Fort Mill, South Carolina, coming at you once again with this exclusive one-time opportunity interview. Yeah, we have a special guest. It happens to be me. You're going to have an opportunity on this episode to go behind the scenes and learn a little bit more about why I became a travel advisor as my producer turns roles and interviews me for a change. So sit back, relax, and come on this journey that we call the Travel People Podcast.
Juan, what's happening, my brother? How's it going, man?
It is good. I'm so happy that we are wrapping up a successful set of episodes. This journey that you and I started with the Travel People Podcast. Um, I'm just super excited, man. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm real good. What about you?
good. It's been great, man. It's been a great season. It's been great working with you, producing this podcast with you. And I just thought this would be a good opportunity to end the year off and kind of let the viewers know a little bit about you and your passions. And I know we talk to some exciting guests every time we get together and do this show, but this time I wanted you to be the exciting guest, man. What's
Yeah,
up
yeah,
with
I
it?
like that. I like that because I'm one of those people who affirms everybody else,
Yeah.
and it's
Hmm.
kind of I get lost in that. I
Yeah.
love telling stories. I love telling other people's stories. So yeah, that's kind of my forte.
Yeah.
Bringing others to the forefront, and I often lose myself in the background.
Exactly, exactly. We got to bring you. We got to bring you to the forefront, being the travel advisor. So tell me, Juan, share a little bit about your background and what initially sparked your passion for travel.
Yeah, that's a great story. It started somewhere in the Bahamas. Everything starts in the Bahamas. It either starts in Vegas or in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we've been travel addicts our whole lives, and we've been really blessed with the opportunities that we encountered with our own personal careers. I worked close to 25 years in sports and entertainment prior to owning my travel business, and the 3 years that I've been involved in the travel business, she has not been short of saying, "Hey, let's go on another journey." But that started somewhere in the Bahamas when we went on an anniversary trip, and we're sitting at a restaurant called Jose Andres Fish. So the restaurant's called Fish, and I'm sitting here eating a giant snapper.
Yeah. Talk
It's
about it.
incredible. And this thing was just bigger than life. And I remember having lost about 30 pounds to go on this trip.
Hmm.
And I'm looking at this, I'm saying, there's no way I'm finishing this. But she started talking about how funny it would look to post a picture and share with friends and say, hey, look at what we're doing. Look at this, a new adventure. And that's what sparked the conversation.
Yeah.
Just opened up the door. I was like, well, maybe we should do this for a living. And she was like, maybe we should.
Hmm.
And then next thing I ran into a situation where Tepper and the Panthers, my last employer, were like, hey, you know what? We're moving in a different direction. And I did a lot of soul searching
Hmm.
and financial advising. And they said, hey, maybe you should do this for a living, start a travel business. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's how it all started.
That's great, man. I love that story. So we can thank one of the few things we can thank David Tepper for is, is bringing you out of the Panthers and into the travel business. So
Yeah, yeah.
aside from the Bahamas, tell me about one of the earliest travel memories that you've had that left a significant impact on you.
Wow. If we want to go deep state, we got to
Hmm.
go all the way back to
Yeah.
when I was a kid living in Newark, New Jersey. My dad,
Brick City, what's up?
um, yeah, Brick City. Yes, yes. Um, my pops was a hustler at heart,
Hmm.
and he had everything from vending machines to businesses that dealt with wrestlers like Lou Albano, Soda, all kinds
Mhm.
of stuff. And my mom was always doing something besides what she was doing in her careers. And my dad had this way of expressing himself with all his kids by taking each one of us on our own little adventures. So for me, was that little adventure just down the shore. You know, hey, let's go collect. And it wasn't even a vacation. It was just a little adventure. It was just something like, all right, well, let's just get in the Ford LTD with no air conditioning in the middle of the summer
Mhm.
and drive down. But I thought it was cool. I'm like with my pops. I'm sitting in the front seat, no seatbelt, drinking a Coca-Cola while well, I can't say that, but he was drinking his beverage. Back in the
Mhm.
day, they did everything, right?
Yep.
And I thought that was cool, and I thought I want to do this. I want to do this forever. I want to be free range and be able to have full control of my life and go on any adventure that I want.
Mm.
And it really steered me into logistics and operations throughout my career in sports and entertainment. And then later on, obviously, as I look back, thinking, wow, that really was the memory that sparked all of this. And if you really want to go deep state, but I'll tell you what, there is one vacation
Yeah.
that will always, always be memorable for me, and it was before I owned the travel business. And my wife and I had an opportunity to go to Vegas, and we got married in Vegas.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah, you would think somebody who
Yeah.
got married in Vegas is not together with their spouse for 25 years.
That's right.
So there's a story within a story.
Mhm.
But it was such a cool place to go to, and we both had, well, she hadn't been. I had been once when I was a teenager, but I'll tell you what, this trip really was special for us for so many reasons, right? Obviously, we got married, but we got to explore more about who we were by learning all about Sin City and all the things to avoid, all the mistakes that we made. And now I feel like an expert. Now I can tell people, oh, you do not want to go to this side of town. You want to go to this side of town. And in fact, we've done that from that story. But that probably was one of my most memorable experiences.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool, man. And so as we fast forward into, you getting into the travel business, how was that transition from, your previous work in sports and entertainment into the role of a travel advisor?
Man, I've I've utilized a lot of the skills that I had from my previous employment. And, a lot of that is planning, itinerary building and scheduling. Everything had to be on time, obviously. So, and had to be in line with whatever media production was going on, or everything had its place and its order. So I use those skills to enhance my experiences for my clients. So I'll build itineraries that are out of this world, outside the box, and basically keep it simple and basic, and then build on that. So then I'll have a custom conversation with them and say, hey, what is it that you really are into in the world? Are you
Mhm.
into an adventure? Are you an adventure seeking family? Are you a romantic couple? Are you a family whose kids only eat chicken nuggets?
Yeah, mine.
Right? Everybody raised their hands.
Mhm.
So, and then I'll add my own personal touch for them, and it really helps for them to feel like, all right, well, he really thought through our plans and really understood our needs, and not only that, he curated something that had value. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I take a lot of pride in bringing a lot of the skill sets that I had before into what I do now, for sure.
Mhm. Now, so what's your preference if you had to answer that same question that you ask? when you're traveling, not for work, but just for leisure, do you prefer the planned itineraries or the romantic side or the spontaneous adventures?
This is going to be the worst answer that anyone that's listening that is a travel advisor, because I absolutely do not like to plan. I am absolutely spontaneous, but that's because I've experienced the world and I've had
Yeah,
that blessing, right?
yeah.
So I like to just be immersed in culture. Like you send me to the DR, and I don't need an excursion. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
find somebody who's
Yeah.
hanging out somewhere and grab a beer,
Mm-hmm.
and have some lunch, and then next thing you know, we're hanging out in their backyard, which happens to be passing through a rapid of a waterway, and we're just,
Yeah.
there is adventure to be found through culture and immersing yourself. But we live in an era where um, we're bombarded with fear.
Yeah.
Anything that is unusual, or something that we don't find common, we're gonna be fearful for. And there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that. There's there is a sense of reality to that, because there is some truth to that. But the other side of it is that I love it because I have an opportunity to explore something that I may never get a chance to explore again. Maybe I go to Vietnam, and want to go off the beaten path, and
Yeah.
experience what maybe a soldier did in late 60s into the 70s during the Vietnam War, right? And
Yeah.
go find those experiences. But yeah, there's a lot to be said
Yeah.
by being off the beaten path. But I gotta put a little asterisk to this, because my planning skills are the reason I have planning skills is because I have the skill set to know how to be spontaneous and be an extrovert and talk
Mm-hmm.
to others. Not everybody's like that. So when you are planning, if you are listening, you need a planner so that you can
Please.
understand the complexities, because you don't want to say, well, Juan told me to just be spontaneous. The next thing you
Yeah.
know, you're on that episode at the jail episode on Nat Geo. I forget what it.
Right. Can't get out of there. I
Yeah.
like to I like when we always talk about it with my wife, man, whenever we go somewhere, not overseas a whole lot, but whenever we go to different towns and stuff, I'm always interested to find out where the hood is. Let's find out where the
Yeah.
hood's at, because that's where the best food is gonna be.
Yes.
Barbershops, that kind of stuff.
I
So
always
that's what
tell
you do,
people
bro.
it's
You
so
do that. You do
important.
that in DR. Find out where the hood is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in July, I did that in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I had to go there for a funeral, but I said, you know what? I did a product review. I called some friends, and I said, look, this last minute trip, I really need to get there. So, American Airlines and Delta Vacations, they took care of me, but they were like, hey, can you do us a favor? And I was like, what's the favor? Can you do a product review? It's in Ponce. And I was like, all right, well, that's off the beaten path, but I can do it. So I just literally stayed in a beautiful resort, but it's
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by the hood.
Yeah.
And I had to I had to rent a car and everything. And all my family members were scared for me. They were like, "What are you doing? Don't you know you can't go here, there?" And I'm like, "I'm good, man. I feel at home. I,
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
feel at home on the golf course where I'm swinging like a bat."
Yeah. That's good. You're just a man about the Juan about town. That's the new show,
Yeah.
Juan about town.
What about town? There you
Yeah.
go.
So
But
tell me Juan about any challenges that you faced in the beginning of your journey into the travel world, and how'd you overcome them?
that's great because I'm not a salesman. I hate sales. I hate going into a car dealership. I don't like visiting a dentist. All great professions, by the way, but it's just there's something about going into these places that you always feel like you're going to spend more money than you should,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't particularly subscribe to that. And I've always had this mantra that I'm not going to oversell something, or I'm not going to sell something that I don't love. Like, I'm not going to go work at a Mercedes Benz dealership if I don't know anything about Mercedes Benz, or if I'm passionate about Jeep, which is what I drive.
Hmm.
So I'd rather go sell a Jeep.
Yeah.
So
Hey, let me ask you a
it's,
question. It's like
yeah,
we've been trying to figure this out, my wife and I. What's with the ducks?
yeah. So ducks are amphibious, right? They are
Hmm.
land and sea animals. So Jeeps, when they were originally created by the military, they were created to be amphibious. So that's
Mm,
why the duck is
okay.
there. So when you look at a Jeep, the original design is made for it to look like it's floating in the water. And
Okay. And then the ducks were
um,
kind of right there. I
yeah,
got it
yeah.
now.
So somebody who had a lot of gummies in the '60s thought of that.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. I just always noticed it. And I said, wait a minute, I'm going to ask Juan because he has a Jeep with all the ducks in the front too. So
Yeah.
I know he'll hook me up. So, of all the places you visited, do you have a favorite?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
what makes it stand out? What makes this place stand out?
Oh, that's great. And so my son and I are going back to Japan. We fell in love with Japan, and hopefully it's where he wants to live, because I'll go visit and live there
Hmm.
year round if I could. I love the culture, the food. I probably was born to a Japanese family and maybe adopted by my parents because
Yeah.
I'm all about the culture. It brings us close together, my son and I.
Mm-hmm.
Having a teenage boy and you raising kids who are already grown beyond the teenage stage, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
hard to get them to communicate, and this
Yes.
really brings us together, man. And
Cool.
anytime I can talk about visiting an Asian country, specifically Japan, he
Mm-hmm.
comes to life. So yeah, I'd say specifically Tokyo City, a section that's called Electric Town,
Mm-hmm.
and in Japanese it's called Akihabara. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It lights up at night. There's manga stores. There's gachapon vending machines everywhere. There's people dressed. It's their version of Times Square, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of this world. It's fabulous. So
Cool.
yeah, I'd say Japan and
Good.
Tokyo for sure.
Yeah, good answer. I like it. I like it. How about this? Tell me a story of where your expertise as a travel advisor significantly enhanced a client's experience.
Yeah, that's
Why do
also
they need
great.
you?
One of my very first clients needed to go to Spain. And the reason they were going to Spain is because the entire soccer team was elevated to a championship match that won them an opportunity to visit a facility in Huesca, Spain.
Hmm.
And it's in the middle of the mountainous range past Andorra, and no one had an idea on how to put that itinerary together. They just knew that they were going to fly in, and that the team bus for that facility that was hosting the kids was going
Hmm.
to pick up the kids. But the parents of those kids had no idea, where are we going to stay in Barcelona,
Mm.
where are we going to stay, how are we getting to our hotels. So I managed to put together a mirroring itinerary for the parents, and then also had them either those who wanted to rent cars or those who wanted to stay in the small town of Huesca, which I'm letting you know, if you who travel to a lot through a lot of Airbnbs and VRBOs, trust
Hmm.
me, there's not a lot of options here in Huesca.
Hmm.
It's a sleepy town, just like it sounds, and
Yeah.
just like the movies. So there was a lot of planning and logistics involved just for food, just to get people to eat in different places and not break their budget.
Yeah.
So I was able to arrange transportation and all those things, and most of those clients stayed on. They came back home and they talked about how easy the transitions were,
Mm-hmm.
and how seamless sometimes it was. The bus was there, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my clients, she went on to have a fabulous adventure. She went off the beaten path. She says, "No, no, no, my son's great. What I need you to do is take me to Ibiza." Uh, so we arranged flights. She did a hot air balloon in
Mm.
Torrevieja. She had a blast, and she was like, "This was
Nice.
great." And I said, well, having those experiences allowed me to enhance her experience, and her expectations were even higher. I met her expectations, and
Mm.
then some, I should say,
Yeah.
because I try to keep it level and give them some type of expectation, but not
Mm.
too high. Because if I don't meet it, then it's on me. But
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
That's good. That's good, man. And I just also want to make a side note that all of our viewers and listeners will hear that I didn't give Juan any of these questions ahead of time. I didn't tell him what I was going to be asking him. So these are coming straight from the man's heart, and he didn't have any time to prepare an answer. They're just already there, man. And I appreciate. That's how I like to do
yeah,
it. You get
yeah.
the
It's
real.
funny
You get the real
because
here.
we discussed before the show, this whole script idea that we were laughing. What is it? Chat,
Chat
G,
GPT.
whatever it was,
Yeah.
and I put all this information and I said, create a script, and it spews out all this junk. But
Yeah.
it's junk. It's not you. It's not
Yeah.
authentic. And
Yeah.
so
This
yeah,
is
I
the real deal.
appreciate that.
This is the real deal. So let's talk about the podcast, man. What inspired you to start the Travel People podcast?
It's great because it allows me to segue into convention of
Mm-hmm.
2024 with cruise planners. So last year, before I started the podcast, I was interviewed by cruise planners at the convention then, and they wanted to know more about me, more about my, they just appreciated how much I posted and how much I was engaged online with my clients, and it was something that we were really pushing for other agents to do, and making them aware that this is the new wave of advertising,
Mm-hmm.
where more than 70% of people use Facebook specifically
Yeah.
as a Google search engine, or what we used to know as the yellow pages.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that on the minute I bought my business, but it was just something that I kept on enhancing and enhancing. And having done some commercial recordings with a company called Trifactor there, I fell in love with the idea. One of the guys said, "You should have a podcast." And I
Mm.
said, "I can't do that. I don't know where to start." And I remember having hooked up with you guys and talking about podcasts, and on No Shortcuts. There you go, the plug, No Shortcuts,
Hey.
the community.
Hey.
Hey, we need a plug bell, just like there you go, all, all about nothing.
Yeah.
um, so that's gonna be our official plug,
Yeah.
Horn. But yeah, yeah. So I got interviewed. I did these commercial recordings, which are really hot, and we threw them on the internet. We rolled with them, and um, it stuck with me. And the boss lady, my wife, aka Evelisa, she former co-host as well of the show,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, for those listening. Um, she 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 was like, "Well, you already have the skill set. When you were a boy, when you lived out in Cali, you went to film school. You did all these things. So you shouldn't be shy about being in front of the camera and recording." And I said, "I'm going to roll with it." And I came up with the concept, um, and really, it was because I knew there was an opportunity for this industry to grow through a different measure of genre. Podcasting, most people that I know will watch maybe two or three shows, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
subscribed to others. So I think that's phenomenal that we've gotten to an age where people are watching more podcasts than they do stream
Mm-hmm.
shows on networks. So I want to jump on that bandwagon before it's too late, and then bring the ideology of, hey, this is why we're important in the
Mm-hmm.
travel industry. And
Yeah.
43,000 of us in the U.S. alone, we're not going away. We're not dinosaurs. As a matter of fact, I just want to plug this. Cruise Planners, we did for the second year in a row as a corporation $1 billion in sales again, and
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
through the third quarter, brother. I mean,
Yes.
so yeah. So it started at the convention last year and rolled into the convention this year, where I interviewed other advisors
Mm-hmm.
who had been asking me, "Hey, I want to be on the show." And I said, well, let's do this. Let me go ahead and talk to you guys individually and get a feel for who you are that way. And we can tell your stories one by one, or get more from you. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to talk to them about why they chose Cruise Planners specifically. And I thought that was fantastic. I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting to me that, hey, why not ask the same question you asked me?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a story there, and people need to know we're people. We're
Yes.
we're 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 we're, we're, we're planning this journey based on our own experiences, and we're gonna do this together. It's not about us doing everything for you and saying, no, this is what you need to do. No, we want to learn more, know more, because this
Mm-hmm.
is our story, and I wanted
Yeah.
to have an opportunity to share that with people.
Yeah, yeah, that's great, man. That's great, and you were the man designed to do this, man. To take the travel industry into this age and podcasting, and like you said, everyone once they see you do it, I think you're gonna inspire other of your peers to say, hey, man, I want to do a podcast too. I got stories. I could tell some stories. I have people I can talk to. That's awesome, brother. Tell me about tell me about any travel trends that you're currently excited about.
Oh man, I love it that people who are not 55 and older or look like are, well, I
Hmm.
can't even say 55 and older because we're getting to that age, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Close
almost
soon.
there.
But I'm getting excited that younger people are traveling on river cruises,
Yeah.
and being more exploratory. And then also Italy. Italy's on fire, right?
Mm,
Well, not in
not literally.
that way, but let's just make sure people are
Hmm.
understanding us correctly.
Yeah.
Both of us being New Yorkers, we got our own lingo.
Yeah.
Um, but watching people want to book Italy is really cool because here's a country that struggled with tourism. Thank you, Perillo Tours, for making it your grandmother's vacation spot, right? We grew up watching The Price is Right or One Life to Live, and Perillo Tours would come on
Hmm.
for what seemed like 15-minute commercials, an
Hmm.
infomercial. Um, so that jaded the perspective of why would I want to go to a place and just walk around and see monuments? But Italy is more than that. It's about the culture, again,
Hmm.
the food, the people, the type of experience that you want to have. And I love that that's happening right now. And river cruising is also bringing back that emphasis that, hey, this is not just for grandma and grandpa. This is for
Hmm.
anyone who's an
Yeah.
explorer, because I love that. I love that. I wanna. As a matter of fact, I interviewed a couple cruise planners during the convention 2024 in Fort Lauderdale last month, who told me how they're gravitating towards river cruising and river cruise sales,
Hmm.
and I thought that was perfect niche to grab onto.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. That is good to also have your niche for sure. Speaking of that, if you come across someone, if someone's watching this podcast, or if you meet someone that's interested in changing directions and pursuing a career as a travel advisor like you did, what advice would you give them?
Oh man, now more than ever. And this was a question that I asked a lot of advisors. Why did you become a travel advisor? You
Mm-hmm.
know, what makes the product that you chose to be part of the product? So specifically, there's compartmentalize this question because anyone can become a travel advisor. Anyone. You can go to CLIA and IATA and apply for your licenses and become certified in the industry so that you're a trusted advisor and you can get
Mm-hmm.
paid commission. Um, and I would tell people right now, this is not something that is a career to take light of. There is a lot of money to be made in this career, but you have to be ambitious. You have to be someone who is outgoing. You don't have to be someone who knows sales or specifics about the travel industry. You just have to be someone who's willing to talk to people. So
Mm-hmm.
if they can talk to people and they're already traveling, then they're already one step ahead to be an advisor. The second part of that is finding a consortia partner or an agency partnership, like a franchise, as I purchased with Cruise Planners, that's going to give you the tools, that's going to give you the backing from home office when you
Mm-hmm.
fall short of your client's demands. You're going to want a good errors and omissions insurance contract. You know, all of us who are entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
are thankful for that little insurance
Yes.
policy. So all those things you're going to want in one nutshell. You're going to want to be able to create an LLC and or a single corp seamlessly. And franchising allows you to do that, and consortias allow you to partner with more
Mm-hmm.
travel components. I mean, right now we're at over 200 partners at Cruise Planners. So
Mm.
essentially, you see it online, we can
Yeah.
sell
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Sorry, I had to keep hitting my cough button.
it.
Last question. Last question, Juan. If you could travel with any historical figure or celebrity, who would it be and why?
Wow. Wow. I'm gonna have to give you three.
Okay. Belle, Biv, and DeVoe. No?
Boy. Uh, you know, the top one, you know, and this is gonna placate to, you know, my religious beliefs and my ideologies. I would actually have to JC, not Jay Z, everybody, JC. So he would probably be the first person, right? First of
Mm-hmm.
all, he'd probably be able to teleport us or whatever, but maybe not because he's not going to show off. He's gonna be like,
No.
hey, and he's going to fly economy, so that's going to
Mm-hmm.
be tough for me. But eh, you know, just walking through the Middle East, just having that perspective of him telling all these stories and all these great battles and adventures and
Mm-hmm.
prophets and everything. That to me would be incredible. That's why I love
Yeah.
the religious tours that ETS does. And there's a couple cruise planners that I interviewed as well during the convention that really, really love doing these types of tours. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was genius. So yeah, JC would probably be it because I would love to take him then on the adventure that my son and I had
Yeah.
into Asia, right? And just be like, all right, well, I know you built this place, but you know, let me show you what you built, right? Let me show you what you did, this beautiful culture, and I think it would be amazing to do that. Um, the other person is going to be a little controversial. All right.
Okay.
I love Georgie Bush Jr. All right.
Hmm.
You know, he owned the baseball team.
Yeah.
He was the black sheep of the family,
Mm-hmm.
and it still made it to the presidency somehow.
True. Yeah.
Um, you know, maybe by namesake, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But he was he's like a drunken sailor in a good way. You give this guy a couple beers, he's gonna give you
Yeah.
every state secret there is, right? So
Yeah, he's got tons of stories.
Tons of stories.
Hmm.
My dad actually met Senior before he was president,
Hmm.
but that's another story. But yeah, George Jr. would be somebody I would want to do U.S., the whole U.S., North America, maybe even Mexico, U.S., and Canada, right?
Hmm.
And just go on this road trip in an RV, exploring each town, shaking hands, getting drunk in corner bars that most people don't know where the front door is, and waking up with a piece of a rib bone on your face. Dogs that you collected along the way on the
Hmm.
highway. Just a wild adventure. That would be number two. That would be like top notch experience, ultimate road trip adventure. But the last one, and not least of all, and as someone who I've always said would be my number one travel companion, just because she's the boss lady,
Hmm.
and we already do this, so it's kind of not the right answer, but and she's not a celebrity, but in my world, she's a
She is.
celebrity.
That's
So,
right.
um, just having the opportunity for both of us to retire and say, all right, well, this is it. This is what we do. Let's hit the go button
Hmm.
and explore every part of the world, and be ourselves, be the community that we create everywhere we go, love on people, share our stories, hear their stories, and build bonds that are lifetime relationships that were forged in 2 or 3 minutes of
Yeah.
eating maybe some tapas, right?
Hmm.
That would be it. But she and I have already started that journey, but the ultimate journey would be that. And
Yeah.
when you have kids, you have great dreams,
Yeah.
and you have. But I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer, which makes me the best person to book your trips with, because I think of some of the most creative things that most people would not ever think of for a specific location. And a lot of times it might cost you nothing to do.
Hmm.
So that's why I tell people use a travel advisor. It's free 99, from the words of our boy Midas.
Yeah, buddy.
Free 99.
Little shout out to
It
Midas
is
there.
so simple. It's so simple, but I appreciate this. This was a
Yeah,
lot of
man.
fun to do.
It was a lot of
This was
fun.
different.
I got to get in front of the camera again for once on this show. I
Yeah,
loved it, man.
yeah. So
Hey, let's thank everybody for tuning in to today's episode of The Travel People. Thank you to Juan for sharing your journey and your insights and letting me interview you, and having some great stories and experiences to share. And we just hope everybody found some inspiration in your stories and some tips for your next adventure.
yeah, thank you so much for a great season,
Yeah,
Travis.
buddy.
And I look forward to sharing more stories, and be on the lookout, folks.
Hmm.
Those who I interviewed during the convention will be shouting you out throughout this episode, as promised. And we're going to go ahead and let our viewers know that we'll be back in January of 2025 with an enhanced show, new experiences, and maybe some on location stuff, but definitely with a whole new feel. And thank you, Travis. I appreciate
Yeah,
this.
buddy. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and like on YouTube and follow on Instagram at The Travel People as well.
Yeah, yeah, and make sure you share that button, guys. Share that
Yeah.
button. Sharing is caring, and I hate to bring up 80 slogans, but Care Bears unite. Come on, people,
Let's
let's go.
go. Let's go. Peace. We'll see y'all next time.
Take care.